Hey everyone, Tyson Moore here. It's springtime and it's time for me to get outside and start working on some projects in and around my home. One of those areas that I've been greatly neglecting is my front porch. I'll be partnering with the Home Depot to show you how I take my porch from its current condition to something that's new and fresh. So the first thing that I did was take out my reciprocating saw and simply cut off the railing for my porch. We weren't sure how this was going to look, but after we got it off, we were certain we were heading in the right direction. Next up, I decided to pressure wash the concrete. If you don't have a pressure washer, just remember that the Home Depot's Tool Rental Center is always there to help provide any tools that you might need for your upcoming project. Next up, I focused on these posts. As you can tell, these posts have been rotting from the outside for a very long time, so it was my intention to replace all of the wood on the exterior. But after examining the 4x4 post inside, I was able to determine that everything was structurally sound, and it was just this outside wood that needed to be replaced. Now I'm actually going to wrap the entire post in a PVC material, so it didn't really matter. So after purchasing some PVC boards, I used some construction adhesive in my nailer to simply attach it to the outside of my previous columns. When I discovered that the dimensions of these boards would fit perfectly around my previous columns, I was sold. I didn't have to cut anything except for the tops and the bottoms, and I just used my miter saw to cut the ends at 45-degree angles so that they would fit together like this. Now I will mention that Home Depot sells pre-made columns if you're uncomfortable with the idea of making your own, but you would definitely need to check the dimensions of your porch to make sure that everything would work together. Our original plan was to replace the railings, but the columns looked so good by themselves, we decided to leave them off. Now after doing a little bit of reading, I found this awesome PVC trim nail eraser on HomeDepot.com, and then I asked my daughter to help me fill in all the nail holes. I may end up painting the columns later, but you really don't have to using PVC boards. Next up, we started to focus on the other items on our porch. First was replacing our exterior light fixture. This was an easy connection with just attaching the wires according to instruction, and then reattaching it to the wall and turning on the power. I was really leaning on my wife's vision for this entire project, and I'll have to show you in another video how I made these new shutters that we're going to attach to the house. You could definitely purchase pre-made shutters, but I decided to build my own. Now at this point, I'd like to mention a neat feature that Home Depot offers that you might not know about. There are lots of how-to guides on Home Depot's website on virtually every DIY project. There are lots of guides for complicated processes, down to something simple like hanging a shutter on a house. So the next time you're working on something, remember to check the website as there might be a how-to guide for you to look at. So after attaching all 4 of my new board and batten shutters, it was time to turn our attention to the actual furniture on our porch. Now, did I mention that I was relying heavily on my wife's creative genius? Yeah, remember, I'm the guy that let my porch rot in the first place. Anyways, she picked out some amazing furniture that was going to fit perfect for this space, and after unboxing everything, in a very easy assembly, we started bringing everything to the front porch. Now, we either bought everything in our local Home Depot or we ordered online. I'll be sure to leave a list of links below in case you're curious about some of these specific items that we purchased for our porch. Now it was time to direct our attention to our landscaping around the porch. So we headed back to our local store and found some awesome ferns and plant stands and different planters. It's really helping tie everything together. And we also asked my father-in-law to come over and help us at this point. I'm also not very good at keeping plants alive, so we wanted to make sure that we did this the right way. As you can tell, it's just a bunch of digging and manual labor at this point. I was able to pick up all this pine straw in my truck, but had I not had a truck or a trailer, I could have easily rented one from the Home Depot. I could have just gone into my store and been able to talk to an associate there about how to rent a trailer or a truck to be able to bring all of these landscaping materials, pine straw, and plants home with me. Now we began to get excited at this point because laying the pine straw was near the final step. We just laid it on a lot thicker than you might visually think is necessary so that it settles well. And after that, there was just a few finishing touches left to make. We replaced the downspout and hung up one final plant. Now, are you ready for this transformation? This is the before and this is now. As you can imagine, we are so excited with how this turned out. Thanks so much for joining me on my spring front porch renovation. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you like what you saw, please consider subscribing and following, and leave any questions or comments below, and I'll be happy to get back with you. Thanks again for watching.